Chicago Med is still one of my favorite shows, but it hasn't been the same without several departed characters. The medical drama has had one of the highest turnover rates in the One Chicago universe, and few characters are left during Season 10 who have been with the series since Season 1. This cast change is not surprising, considering the show has been on for a decade. However, some newer characters have also left Gaffney Medical Center despite their popularity. As a result, the Chicago Med Season 10 cast is almost unrecognizable to anyone who is returning after taking a break from watching this medical drama. New characters mean new story directions, and Chicago Med has created interesting conflicts by adding characters such as Prickly Dean Archer, Steven Weber, who arrived in Season 6, and Caitlin Lennox, Sarah Ramos, who is a new addition in Season 10. However, the series has a different feel than it did in its early seasons, and some characters' absences are glaringly obvious. 4. Crockett Marcel. Played by Dominic Raines. Marcel was a replacement for Connor Rhodes, who left after Chicago Med Season 4. He was my favorite character because he cared so deeply about his patients and often butted heads with other doctors and administrators over treatment plans. Marcel was also part of one of Chicago Med's strongest love triangles when he and Will Halstead fought over Natalie Manning. However, the most interesting aspect of Marcel's character was his tragic backstory. His final storyline was as tragic as his past. Marcel had to decide to rescind approval for a liver transplant for a young boy at the last minute after the child developed an infection that couldn't be resolved in time to do the procedure. Not only did the child die, but his father chose to take his own life. Marcel couldn't bear the guilt and cancelled his next surgery, though his final scene involved him promising Maggie he would be back tomorrow. It adds insult to injury that after that strong story, Marcel didn't get an exit scene. Despite his promise to return, when Chicago Med Season 10 premiered, Marcel was absent and someone commented that he had moved to Boston. I was disappointed by this off-screen exit, especially since Chicago Med could have given Marcel a proper exit story by having him quit at the end of his final story instead of promising a return that never came. Instead, Chicago Med replaced him with the far less interesting Mitch Ripley, whose only character trait seems to be self-destruction. Some of Will's later storylines were silly. I hated when he went undercover to help Jay catch a mafia boss, but his constant refusal to respect the rules made Chicago Med more interesting. He was at his best when he butted heads with Marcel, but left the season before Marcel did. Thus, Marcel's final season lacked something because of Will's absence. Additionally, characters like Hannah would never have come to Gaffney if Will hadn't crossed paths with them first. In almost every respect, Will is an irreplaceable character, and Chicago Med simply isn't the same without him. 2. Ethan Choi. Played by Brian T. Brian T as Ethan Choi with his backpack on while in a patient room in Chicago Med. Choi wasn't a likable character, but he helped balance the medical drama, especially during his final few seasons. While his on-again, off-again relationship with April was central to his character, I most appreciate him for the way he tried to keep Archer in check during Season 6. Choi and Archer served in the Navy together, and Choi brought Archer on board to be his temporary replacement as ED chief while recovering from surgery. However, when Choi returned to the hospital, Archer had a difficult time taking orders from his one-time subordinate.